kanigoma. Kijani cha macho yako kimebaki moyoni mwangu, nikipo nilikaa kwenye vumbi, moyo ukiwa mzito, kila hatua ilikuwa ndefu kama mlima usioisha, lakini niliokota nguvu pale nilipoanguka. Nikaweka jina langu juu ya kidonda, nilikosa sauti, nikameza kilio, nikabeba siku hizi kama jiwe kifuani, lakini bado nipo, bado na hema, bado naona mwanga, ulonipitia. Pole pole najisogeza mbele, pole pole najijenga tena. Usiku huu si wa mwisho, moyo wangu bado unajua kuota. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Najifuta leo, nainuka tena. Kesho ni mpya, naanza tena. Machozi yanatiririka, lakini naendelea. Machozi yanatiririka, naendelea. Nafungua njia yangu. Nilidondoka chini, dunia ikanyamaza. Watu wakapita, nikabaki na kivuli.
Hey, what's up? What's up, wonderful, beautiful BlackHotFire family? Welcome to the Swahili classes for the weekend. I do hope that everyone is doing fantastic. And on this particular weekend, we are hoping to unite and just get to learn Swahili together as a family. And at the end of the day, we do hope that you can be able to constructively be engaged in communication through the Swahili language. If you look at our previous classes, you'll find out that we have been doing classes for a couple of years now. And the main goal is to be able to help you understand and better apprehend and even appreciate the language of Swahili. Swahili is a beautiful language. It has over 150 million speakers on the continent. And if you're looking at even beyond the continent, you'll find that the language has over 200 million speakers on and off the continent. If you go to a country such as Tanzania, Swahili is actually the official language. It is also the official and the national language. If you come to Kenya, Swahili is actually the national language. If you go to Uganda, Swahili is also widely spoken. If you go to Rwanda and Burundi, Swahili is widely spoken. If you go to the DRC Congo, you also find out that Swahili is also very widely spoken. And also people embrace the language with the main goal of connecting people. In Rwanda, we have three different ethnic groups: the Hutus, the Tutsis, and the Twa. In Kenya, we have 47 different ethnic groups in Kenya. For example, the Digo, the Kikuyus, the Kambas, the Maasais, the Meru, all these different groups. All of them, they do have different languages, but if you look at what language unifies the people, that happens to be the Swahili language. So on this particular platform, the BlackHotFire Network, we purpose to be able to teach you the language, so that if you ever plan a trip to Tanzania, to Kenya, to Rwanda, to Burundi, to the DRC, you are able to speak and connect to the people in a way that helps you be able to understand and trade. Maybe perhaps you're doing commerce, you're buying something, you're selling something, you're just there for a trip. You are able to communicate and converse with people just because of your understanding of this beautiful language of Swahili, which is actually very, very important for you to understand. So if you're trying to welcome people to the class, for example, I want to welcome you all to class, I would say karibu sana. Karibu sana simply means you are very welcome. If I want to thank you so much for joining us for class, I would say asante sana. Sana is for emphasis, but asante simply means thanks. Asante simply means thanks, and therefore you are able to understand what is going on with that. If you're trying to maybe perhaps tell someone Karibieni, just come closer, we'll tell them Karibieni, and which is please come closer. But apart from that, we do have the basic components of this language. These are the vowels. We also have the consonants. For the vowels, you can use your palm. Raise up your hand like this, point up to use your fingers to represent the vowels. This is A, E, O, U. These are the 5 vowels in Swahili. So the A, E, O, U. These are also the English letters of the alphabet. The English letter of the alphabet A, the alphabet E, the alphabet O, the alphabet A, E. E happens to be like the alphabet I, and the O happens to be the alphabet O, and the U happens to be the alphabet U. So therefore, you might talk about I, A, E, or U. These are the 5 vowels, and they are not even difficult. You can always practice and use them, even when you are talking about constructing words or phrases in the Swahili language. So up to that particular point, remember 5 vowels are A, E, O, U. When we talk about the second component of a language, that is a consonant, the consonant happens to be the consonant, all the letters of the English alphabet, apart from X and Q. Those are the consonants in the language apart from X and Q. So therefore, you can always practice the consonants and the vowels. For the consonants, we also have the special class of consonants. These are consonants made up of 2 consonants put together. For example, the CH is cha and ha, and you would say chakula, chakula. For food, if you're talking about food in the Swahili language, you would say chakula, and that is for food, which is very, very essential. I don't think you can even talk about anything for a while. You can have a conversation for a while without talking about food. So for food, you would say chakula, chakula. This is the food that you're eating. If you're talking about water, you would say maji. Maji is for water, and therefore you would say nipe maji, which is give me water. Or you might say ninataka maji, which is I want some water. Apart from that, you might also want to have some clothes. These are the basic components, which is food, water, shelter, and clothing. Food, water, shelter, and clothing. So therefore, you might say nipe chakula, nipe maji, nipe mavazi, or nipe makao. And makao simply refers to the shelter. Mavazi refers to the clothing. Maji refers to the water. Chakula refers to the food. That is exactly how you would explain it, and it is not even difficult. Up to that particular point, does anyone have a question? If anyone has a question, please ask. If anyone has a question, please ask. I would like to be able to respond and answer to your questions. And I would also be able to engage with you regarding some of these particular words and phrases that we do have. For now, we shall take a short break and play your song. It's known as Be Your Fool or Nikuwe Mjinga Wako. And this is a song by a band known as the Villagers Band. And let me know what you feel about this particular song.
that love is just for fools. We gotta dance to the rhythms that we choose. I gotta say how I feel about you. I hope and pray that you feel it too. I can be your fool, be your fool. I can be your fool, be your fool. Somebody said that love is full of pain. We've gotta pay for the trouble and heartbreak. Somebody said without pain there is no gain. I may be a fool, but I know love is not a game we play. I can be your fool, be your fool. I can be your fool, be your fool. I can be your fool, be your fool. I can be your fool, be your fool.
Yes, I would actually say that if you're looking for music, and that is the African sound or the Kenyan sound, I think Chris Adol has it. If we talk about Musioka, there is another producer known as Musioka. Musioka has the African sound. There is also a couple of other producers that I know and creators of music would actually put you on the real vibe. You know, there are people who talk about all this and that, they copy so much. But if you're talking about original, authentic African sound, then I would tell you Chris Adol has it, and he's actually the originator of that particular vibe. We also do have another artist I will put you on. He goes by the name, what is his name? Let me see. He has done a song with BN, and it's called Mbwembwe. So that is another song that we shall play. And you might also get to vibe to it because it's original African, authentic African sound. Welcome back to class. We do say karibu sana. Welcome back once again. And we are learning about Swahili and how you get to do simple Swahili dialogues. Simple Swahili dialogues. First and foremost, in a dialogue, you have to understand the context. What is the context of this particular dialogue? Is it in a classroom? Is it in a hospital? Is it in a hotel? Is it in a market or a convenience store? What is the context of this particular dialogue? For example, if you are talking about a dialogue in a hospital, it is very, very important to talk about the patient, the doctor, the medicine, the treatment, and the cure. So therefore, if you are talking about a hospital, you might talk about daktari. Daktari is a doctor. Daktari, that is a doctor. That is a doctor. Doctor. You might talk about the patient. That is the patient. The patient. The patient. Patient. You will also talk about the nurse. The nurse, which is muuguzi. The nurse, which is muuguzi. Muuguzi. You might want to talk about the treatment, which is matibabu. Treatment. Treatment. Which is matibabu. Matibabu. You might want to talk about the cure. For the cure, we'd say tiba. Tiba. For the cure. For the cure, you would say tiba. You talk about tiba for the cure. And therefore, All these are the ways in which you can communicate about in a hospital setup: the hospital, the doctor, the cure, the treatment. All these things you are able to converse and you're able to express them using some of these particular words, and it's not any difficult. Remember, any dialogue has to have context. What are these people talking about? Where are they? If they are in the hospital, you will say that they are actually in the hospital, and you must say wako kwenye hospitali. Hospitali is just the hospital. If you're talking about a dispensary, you would say zahanati. Zahanati for the dispensary, which is ZAZAHANATI. This is for the dispensary. Dispensary. And also, in the same context, maybe you're talking about maybe an individual getting treated. You might say anapata matibabu. Anapata matibabu. Matibabu is for the treatment. Tiba, Tiba, that is for the cure. So if anyone came to say ninataka matibabu, they mean they want the treatment. If anyone was talk about the medicine itself, they would say dawa, DAWA, which is dawa for medicine. Medicine. Dawa is actually for medicine, and therefore someone will talk about dawa, and that is understood to be the medicine. But in our context, if you're talking about the whole view, you might say ningependa or ninataka. Ninataka is a phrase, it means I want. Ninataka is a phrase. It means apologies. Using yourself to anyone and you're trying to find out how you can get to connect with people, even in the hospital setup, you would actually say ni ko na. You would say niko na, which is I have a patient. You would say niko na, and when you're talking about the Swahili language, you realize when you're talking about a patient, you would actually talk about what we do say as mgonjwa. This is mgonjwa, and this is someone who you're treating. Because mgonjwa, in the context of the Swahili language, mgonjwa is a sick, means a sick, a sick. If you're talking about the disease itself, you would say ugonjwa, 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 ugonjwa. This is a sickness or the disease. The disease is ugonjwa. If you're talking about maybe perhaps you want to see someone get well, you would say wanapata matibabu. Pata is get. Pata is get. Pata is get. Pata is get. But if you're talking about getting treatment, you would say pata matibabu. Pata matibabu. And that is exactly how you would say it. Ninataka matibabu. All ningependa kupata matibabu. Ningependa kupata matibabu. Ningependa kupata matibabu. Ningependa kupata matibabu. Ningependa kupata matibabu, which is I would like to get treatment. I would like to get treatment. But if you're talking about maybe perhaps a patient, you would say mgonjwa, mgonjwa, and that is exactly how you'd express it, mgonjwa. But also at the end of the day, if you're trying to understand if you're talking about getting treatment, you would say ningependa kupata matibabu. But you can also talk about the pain. The pain that you are witnessing, you would say maumivu. 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 That is the pain. Maumivu. But if you want to talk about the pain itself, you can also say uchungu. Uchungu. Uchungu is for pain. And for feeling, how you're feeling, you might say ninahisi uchungu. Ninahisi uchungu. Then that would be I feel pain. I do feel pain. Ninahisi uchungu. I do feel pain. And also, if you're talking about ningependa kupatiwa dawa, you need to get some medicine, and that will be So if we're talking about a concept, context of a hospital, then you would actually say hospitali, and that is mgonjwa, that is for the sick. A doctor would be daktari. If you're talking about the nurses, you would say muuguzi. If you're talking about the treatment, you would say matibabu. And if you're talking about the cure, you would say tiba. Tiba. That is exactly how you would say. You would actually say tiba, and it would be understood to be something very